Good evening and welcome to the Speak Easy podcast. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited this evening. I have with me here in the studio my sidekick, Deborah Ellison, and we're going to be talking tonight about Juneteenth 2022. Why and what are you celebrating? So, Deborah, good evening and welcome to the Speakeasy. How are you?
Good evening, good evening. This is going to be an in-depth, really good conversation. I'm ready to dive in.
Okay. So we're talking about Juneteenth, and I decided to do this room or have this broadcast because I have met and spoken with so many people, Black people, that do not even know what Juneteenth is.
Yes,
Some never
ma'am.
heard of it, and some that have heard of it, but just recently heard of it. So I just want to have a candid educational discussion surrounding Juneteenth and what that symbolizes to us as a people. So, from what I was taught, that it started in Galveston Island, Texas,
Right.
at the end of the Civil War, where a group of slaves were told that the war was over and that they were free. And it would happen on June 19th, 1865, if I'm not correct. Am I correct? 1869.
Yes, ma'am. That was after 3 years after the actual end of the Civil War.
Okay. Okay. And so, that was huge. And it is huge because what that did, Juneteenth, it symbolizes our freedom as a people. It
Right.
symbolizes the release of us from being under bondage, the bondage of slavery. It symbolizes for me the start of greater things to come. I mean, we're not where we should be or where we could be as a people, but look at where God has brought us from.
A mighty
He
long
brought
way.
us from being captive from our native lands, traveling across those dangerous seas. Some of us made it, some of us did not make it, and brought us here to an unknown land where we couldn't speak the language, didn't understand the language, didn't allow us to be educated, to learn, and to do better. And we were forced into servitude under harsh conditions.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
look at where we are today. Look at where we are today. So, Deborah, just kind of chime in on what you know about Juneteenth and what it means to you.
Well, the difficult part to me is that it took so long after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862 for the word to reach across the South to let slaves know they were free. I understand why, we'll get into that, but it did not reach Texas until Texas was the last state in the Union to actually put into an amendment in the Constitution to free the slaves 3 years after the end of the Civil War and the freement of the slaves by the Emancipation Proclamation. It took 3 years. So Juneteenth is actually the celebration of when every slave in the country by state finally knew that they were free to make a decision whether they were going to leave where they were and go to try to make a life somewhere else or stay where they were. That's another conversation. And so I, I'm just blown away by it. Took 3 years. I understand why. You don't want to give up free labor. Mother Costas.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
And
You
so,
know, free labor.
yes, the free labor. And so the process was prolonged for selfish reasons.
Yes,
And,
ma'am.
my biggest concern is a lot of people, this was not taught in the schools. Juneteenth. Now, as far as when I was in school, never heard about it in school. But how I
Yes,
learned
ma'am.
about Juneteenth was my in South Carolina, the state of South Carolina, the Episcopalian Church, and my grandparents, my dad's parents, and so they would have like big, huge Juneteenth celebrations. They would have musicals. They would have prayer services, church services, and that was their way of educating the young and the old, for the
Right.
old to remember and never forget, and for the young, like me coming up at that time who had never heard of it, to make us aware of what Juneteenth means to us as a people, and for us to carry that torch forward and continue to educate. And so, and we still have that same responsibility to our children and to our grandchildren to educate, and those children that maybe are not even related to us, to educate what Juneteenth means. It is more than just a national holiday, okay? It's more
Which
than
it
that, just an
just
extra day
became a
off.
national holiday last
That's
year.
right. Joe Biden just signed it into law. And so it's much more than that. It is
Yes,
much
ma'am.
more. It is in symbolism of what people suffered and struggled and went through so that we may have more opportunities and a better
Yes,
life.
ma'am.
And we have to carry that torch and continue to educate, educate, educate. And so, Deborah, there's all types of celebrations going along around Montgomery on tomorrow. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so let's talk about that.
Well, I live here in Montgomery, and Montgomery is the civil rights capital of the world.
Yes,
And so we all have to step up and make these type of celebrations number one, especially here in the city now where it's growing so abundantly. Many people are doing very, very well here in Montgomery. The city has a majority African American community. And not only that, we have our first Black mayor serving right
yes,
now here
yes,
in Montgomery,
yes,
Alabama. So this is the perfect time. And this year, we is going all out, not only to educate, but to celebrate. We're having many, many, many events. One of which is going to be at it's going to be a street festival that we've been having for about 5 years now here at the Rosa Parks Museum. It's a street festival. They have in celebration every year. They've been doing it now for about 5 years. And so now, with it being a national holiday, a lot of the other members of the community in the city of Montgomery have joined in. And so it's going to be celebrations all over the city, all over downtown Montgomery. There's going to be a celebration at the train shed at Union Station tomorrow afternoon. There's also to be a celebration at the riverfront, at the amphitheater tomorrow. We're celebrating all over the city. People are getting together, have family get-togethers, friends, picnics, parties, barbecues. And I think it's just awesome because I did not find out about what Juneteenth was until it wasn't taught to me in school, absolutely nothing about it. And I went to a little small town called Eufaula about 7 years ago. And I did not know, I went there as a vendor, and we did not know what the event was about. And the people there in Eufaula educated us on Juneteenth. And I was 50 years old before
Wow.
I knew anything about Juneteenth.
Wow. 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 That is amazing. And I know even in my hometown of Gulfport, Mississippi, I don't recall ever attending a Juneteenth celebration. I don't even recall hearing of one until years later after I had become an adult and people had moved in from other areas or what have you and started celebrations. And so we
Right.
need to spread the word. We have the responsibility of saying, hey, this is a monumental day for us as a people. Therefore, we must educate as we celebrate. So the
Yes,
question
ma'am.
tonight is why and what are you celebrating? Me personally, I'm celebrating a commemoration of freedom, a commemoration of becoming victorious, a commemoration of overcoming terrible situations, and us being exposed and having the right to positive situations in our life and our livelihoods. That's what I'm celebrating.
Right.
That is what I'm celebrating. So, to all the
Yes,
listeners
ma'am.
out there tonight, I say to you, if you can find a celebration somewhere in your local area, I encourage you to go, attend, learn what you can, spread the word about what you learned. If you do not know of anything in your local area, go on the internet, go on YouTube. I'm sure BET,
And your
I'm sure there's going to be
mm-mm.
several things going on where you can learn and enrich in yourself and learn about this monumental time in history, a commemoration of freedom for us as a people.
And go on your good old friend Google.
Yes,
Yes, Google will tell you everything your book never did. That's one thing
yes,
about Google. If you Google it, it's going to tell it to you. And not only do we want to educate ourselves just about Juneteenth, but we want to educate ourselves about what that was the start of and why um, the struggles have been so hard since then for us as ending of one hard time. We enough.
okay,
But our
Deborah, you are breaking
ancestors,
up.
can
You're
you hear
breaking up.
now?
So yeah, you're breaking up. So you may need to move around in your house a little bit
Okay.
because you're breaking up, and
I'm
we're
not
only getting every other word of what you're saying.
not right now. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you now.
Okay. Hold on. It's
And so while
starting.
Deborah's doing that, I just want to say to everyone, please, please go on BET tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be some celebrations, especially in the nation's capital, New York City, some of your bigger cities. But Google just Google Juneteenth celebrations and events near me, and you will be amazed of what comes up right there in your local area. Because what I'm finding is a lot of the smaller towns are becoming more active and involved. So go to BET tomorrow, watch BET, go on Google Juneteenth events near me, and just celebrate. Join in the celebration. You owe it to yourself. Join in. So, Deborah, I'm going to be downtown tomorrow for the street festival at the Rosa Parks Museum. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to also go over to the amphitheater at the riverfront just to see and to celebrate and to enjoy and to fellowship. I'm
Yes,
excited.
and if you live in the Montgomery area, I encourage you to come on out.
Yes, come on out. Come on out, get out, and enjoy the festivities. And again, when things like this happen, a lot of times we come out and we see people we have not seen in years. And that's a good time to reconnect with old friends and sometimes with family, just depending on where you are. So, tomorrow at the Union Station train shed here in Montgomery, the Street Festival at the Rosa Parks Museum, and also at the amphitheater at the riverfront, on the riverfront here in Montgomery. I'm excited. I am excited. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
And can you hear me well now, Mother
Yes, I
Constance?
can. Yes, I can.
Well,
But you've frozen up again. You have frozen up
okay,
again on
there
us.
we go.
Yeah.
It's how about now?
Now you're good.
This celebration African Americans or ancestors of freed slaves. It's for everybody. It's for all of us
Yes,
to
it
stand
is.
together and say we've come a long, long ways, and we want to making not only this city but this state in this country in this world a better place for all of us to live and be a shining example of that. So everybody, I don't care what your race, your ethnicity, your age, celebrate. Come on out. Educate yourself.
Yes, thank you so much, Deborah. And so, again, we're just going to encourage you to get out tomorrow, enjoy the festivities, learn. We're having some terrible weather here, and I think that's what's going on with you and your reception because it's getting bad over here where I am as well.
Yes,
So,
ma'am. It
we're going
always
to end
starts on
our
this side.
discussion. Yes, we're going to end our discussion, but again, by saying, why and what are you celebrating? Why and what are you celebrating? Juneteenth 2022. Go out, reach out, connect with others, celebrate. So, once again, this is a Speakeasy podcast. Enjoy your Juneteenth, enjoy your weekend, and until the next time,
Mhm.
God bless and have a good evening.